Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Now we will discuss about the structure and the function of the brain. For the first one, I will explain the structure and the function of human brain. The structure of the brain. The developing brain goes through many stages. In the embryos of vertebrates, the predecessor to the brain and spinal cord is the neural tube. As the fetus develops, the grooves and folds in the neural tube deepen, giving rise to different layers of the brain. The human brain is split up into three major layers. One is forebrain, the midbrain, and the hindbrain. The forebrain has two major divisions, the diencephalon and the telencephalon. The diencephalon is lower, containing the thalamus and hypothalamus, which together form the limbic system. The telencephalon is on top of the diencephalon and contains the cerebellum, the home of the highest level cognitive processing in the brain. It is a large and complicated forebrain that distinguishes the human brain. The first one, the cerebellum, also known as the cerebral cortex. The cerebellum is the largest part of the human brain, and it is associated with higher brain functions such as thought and action. Nerve cells make up the gray surface, which is a little thicker than our tongue. White nerve fibers beneath the surface carry signals between nervous cells in other part of the brain and body. Its wrinkled surface increases the surface area and is a six-layered structure found in mammals called a neocortex. It is divided into four sections called lobes. They are the frontal lobes, the parietal lobes, the occipital lobe, and the temporal lobe. Okay, now the function of the lobes. First one, frontal lobe. The frontal lobe lies just beneath our forehead and is associated with our brain's ability to reason, organize, plan, speak, move, make facial expression, serial tasks, problem solve, control inhibition, spontaneity, initiate, and self-regulate behaviors, pay attention, remember, and control emotions. Parietal lobe. Parietal lobe is located in the upper rear of our brain and controls our complex behavior, including senses such as vision, touch, body awareness, and spatial orientation. It plays important roles in integrating sensory information from various parts of our body, knowledge of number and their relation, and its manipulated of the subject. Portions are involved with our facial processing, language in comprehension, and the ability to construct body positioning and movement. Neglected or inattention, left-right differentiation, and self-awareness are inside. Number 3 is occipital lobe. The occipital lobe is located at the back of our brain and is associated with our visual processing such as visual recognition, visual attention, spatial analysis, and visual perception of body language such as posture, expression, and gesture. Number 4, temporal lobe. The temporal lobe is located near our ears and is associated with processing our perception and recognition of our auditory stimuli, comprehending spoken language, verbal memory, visual memory, and language production. A deep furrow divides the cerebrum into two halves, known as the left and right hemisphere. And while the two hemispheres look almost symmetrically, each side seems to function differently. The right hemisphere is considered our creative side, and left hemisphere is considered our logical side. A bundle of axons called the corpus callosum connects the two hemispheres. And the second part of brain, it's called as midbrain. The midbrain makes up part of the brainstem. It's located between the hindbrain and forebrain. All sensory and motor information that travels between the forebrain and the spinal cord passes through the midbrain, making it a relay station for the central nervous system. The midbrain is located below the cerebral cortex and above the hindbrain, placing in the near of center of the brain. The midbrain is located below the cerebral cortex and above the hindbrain, placing it near the central of the brain. It's composed of the tectum, tegmentum, cerebral aqueduct, cerebral peduncles, and several nuclei and fasciculi. The primary role of the brain, the midbrain, is to act as a sort and relay station for our visual and auditory systems. Portion of midbrain called the red nucleus and the substantia nigra are involved in the control of body movement and containing a large number of dopamine producing neurons. The degeneration of neurons is substantia nigra is associated with Parkinson's disease. The midbrain is the smallest region of the brain and is located most centrally within the cranial cavity. Number 1. Limbic system. The limbic system is often referred to as our emotional brain or childish brain. It is found buried within the cerebrum and contains the thalamus, hypothalamus, amygdala, and hippocampus. Limbic system. Limbic system is often referred to as our emotional brain or childish brain. It is found buried within the cerebrum and contains the thalamus, hypothalamus, amygdala, and hippocampus. Number 2. Thalamus. The primary role of the thalamus is to relay sensory information from other parts of the brain and to the cerebellum. Number 2. Thalamus. The primary role of the thalamus is to relay sensory information from other parts of the brain to the cerebral cortex. Number 3. Hypothalamus. The primary role of the hypothalamus is to regulate various functions of the pituitary gland and endocrine activity, as well as somatic functions. Example, body temperature, sleep, and appetite. Number 4. Amygdala. The primary role of the amygdala is to be a critical processor for the sense. Connected to the hippocampus, it plays a role in emotionally laden memories and contains a high number of opiate receptor sites that are implicated in rape, fear, and sexual feeling. Number 5. Hippocampus. The primary role of the hippocampus is memory forming, organizing, and storing information. It is particularly important in forming new memories and connecting its emotions and sense, such as smell and sound, to memories. Number 6. Pituitary gland. The primary role of the Number 6. Pituitary gland. The primary role of the pituitary gland is an important link between the nervous system and the endocrine system. It releases many hormones which affect growth, metabolism, sexual development, and the reproduction system. It is connected to the hypothalamus and is about the size of a pea. It is located in the center of the skull, just behind the bridge of the nose.
The third part of hindbrain. The hindbrain is the well-protected central core of the brain. It includes the cerebellum, reticular formation, and brainstem, which are responsible for some of the most basic automatic functions of life, such as rating of movement. The brainstem contains the pons and medulla oblongata. Evolutionarily speaking, the hindbrain contains the eldest part of the brain, which all vertebrates possess. Though they may look different from species to species. The number 1. The cerebellum or little brain is similar to the cerebrum with its two hemispheres and highly folded surface. It is associated with regulation and coordination of movement, posture, glance and cardiac, respiratory, and vasomotor centers. The number 2, brainstem. The brainstem is located beneath the limbic system. It is responsible for vital life functions such as breathing, heart rate, and blood pressure. The brainstem is made of the midbrain, pons, and medulla. Number 3, pons. The primary role of the pons is to serve as a bridge between various parts of the nervous system, including the cerebellum and cerebrum. Many important nerves that organize in the pons, such as the trigeminal nerve, responsible for feeling in the face, as well as controlling the muscles that are responsible for breathing, chewing, and swallowing. It also contains the abducens nerve, which allows us to look from side to side, and the vestibular condylar nerve, which allows to hear. As part of the brainstem, some of the lower pons stimulates and controls the intensity of breathing, while a section of the upper pons decreases the depth and frequency of breath. The pons is also associated with the control of sleep cycles and controls respiration and reflex. It is located above the medulla, below the midbrain, and just in front of the cerebellum. Medulla. The primary role of the medulla is regulating our inflammatory life-sustaining functions such as breathing, swallowing, and heart rate. As part of the brainstem, it also helps transfer neural message to and from the brain and spinal cord. It is located at the junction of the spinal cord and brain. That's all our discussion today.